We have a black screen. No, we don't. We have a good screen. There we go. I was getting worried there for a second that it was black. And I was going to be talking to literally a black hole for the entire, well, not evening. It's not going to be evening. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the live stream on Monday, 17th of July. Can't forget the wife's birthday tomorrow. I haven't forgotten. Never forget your wife's birthday, ever. But yeah, so welcome everyone. So live stream duration, not quite sure how long it will be lasting. All depends basically on you guys and, well, how enthralled you are and when it comes to how many questions you ask, I guess. But so the main topic is going to be around the Cobra set of videos which I'm popping out this week. It will be the MBCB, literally about an hour or bit ago, something like that, it landed. And then of course then I have possibly tomorrow got that one, which is the Tour, which is a nice combination of both of the irons of the CB MB family. So is anyone interested whatsoever in Cobra irons? I haven't been until recently, but then again, I suppose up until relatively recently when it comes to my YouTube life. I've been doing YouTube not full time, and so I've just stuck to the stuff that I can do within the very small time frame that I've had. And so yeah, now I'm going doing YouTube full time. It's time to branch out. So fingers crossed, I should be getting the Strixon Cleveland stuff imminently. I should also be getting the Tacoma irons. I should be getting some more sub 70 irons to test as well. I've got the Cobra Aerojet and Forge Tech. Yeah, and the Forge Tech X as well for the people who like that strong lofts. But yeah, I'm assuming everyone can hear me okay, and I'm literally not just talking to no one. I suppose, to be fair, you guys would have already said, we can't hear you, we can't hear you. So in that sense, I'm guessing we're good. Right, we've always said, here we go in 2 minutes. I've said, yeah, I'll take that, we're ready. Abstract AV's popped up saying yellow again. I've missed a few. Well, you haven't missed a few. Last week I couldn't do one because unfortunately I had prior engagements which stopped me from doing it. Neil says, hello Neil, hope you're well. Interesting with heel forgiving irons is very noticeable. It has, yes. I mean, that thing there, that was the most noticeable thing. Do you know what, the wife has put a fingerprint on there and I just caught that on camera. She does that for fun. She knows I'm going to have them on camera, so she when she decides that she wants to input. Look at those things, they're lovely. They really, really are nice. And I was expecting those things to be, oh, hit me out the middle, just hit me out the middle. But no, I mean, some of the shots that I've got on there, you can't see that heel dot, but there's a line on that heel dot where a golf ball is impressioned on it. It was that close to the Hosel Roque. Very, very impressed, like ridiculously impressed with the Cobra lineup, with just how good the players' irons are. So the Stream Elements bot has just told me that it's running. Thank you very much for what good it actually do. So not anti-Cobra, but ambivalent. Moriso, Ping, Mizuno, Ping, Moriso, Ping and Mizuno here. Yes, well, Ping definitely, unfortunately, when it comes to the player side of things, Ping don't really make a blade. And yes, they do. They make the blueprint, but the blueprint is a really interesting beast, as in it's really expensive, as in it's ridiculously expensive. I understand that Ping do not have the processes, the manufacturing processes in place to churn out forgings, so hence why the expensive side of how much stuff costs. But yeah, hello Sean, hope you're well. Thank you very much for joining in. Just got fitted for the Forge Tech X. Unbelievable irons for feel and sound and forgiveness. Well, definitely forgiveness. I would, if these things have got anything to go by, and these as you can see, are the blades and the CB and the Tour. I absolutely agree, because if that's going to be to go by, the Forge Tech's going to be immense, immense. Feel and sound, that will be interesting, because obviously those there, all of them, are 1025, not 1025E, which Mizuno use. I'm pretty certain the metallurgist down there can tell me exactly what the E is. Isn't it the purities? I think E is something to do with the purities or something or other. But it just feels like an I'll be honest, this feels like an old school forging. It feels lovely, really, really, really does. As Avey says, I like the look of the Cobra, but I finally got fitted last week for PXG Gen 6 XPs. I'm only 5'6", ended with ½ inch longer, extra drift, 2 degrees flat. Show with all my tinkering, I knew, sod all, love them. Good. Interest in the XPs. I had a client last week. Yeah, last week. He's been fitted for some, which reminds me, I do need to ring them up, PXG. They've been fitted for, he has been fitted for some 311 XPs, you know, like the super 27-degree 6-iron kind of jobs, and such a bad fit, like horrific, like really bad. They just literally saw him coming and took his money. That's what gives custom fitting a bad name. Ice Tray 24, he retracted his message. Go on, rewrite it. I don't mind. Stick anything you want down. We are a very kind group here. We don't in any way, shape or form have a go at anyone for what seemingly is a silly question, because again, that's just the relative to the amount of knowledge you've got. Neil says, Cobra's Forge Tech was in the run-up when I ended up with the Mizunos. Yeah, see, I'm really looking forward to the Forge Tech. So, what was I got an email today from the marketing guy. We'll give you an idea if I had the right ones on. There we go. So, basically, what am I doing? Yeah, so I've got the Forge Tech, and I've got the Forge Tech X, and I've got the Aerojet also coming, which will be fun to test, because effectively then I'll have the whole entire range, and then we will then, well, I won't be getting the, and because I haven't asked basically, but I won't be getting the 1 length. I've tried 1 length in the past, it just doesn't work for me at all. I understand the reasons why they're made, and they're not made necessarily for me, so I can understand that. That's just my take on things. But the Cobra irons so far, if the player's sector, I mean, I know when it comes to the MB and the CB videos, they've literally just MB, SD, CB about an hour and a half ago or so. That was just uploaded and released, but I've got the Tour coming tomorrow. But guys, when it comes to impressed with how well the MB and the CB work, wait until you see the Tour. Yep. Oh no, mine was at the golf centre in Colville with Tom. Good lad. I keep thinking about Aerojet driver. Never hit a Cobra club. Also got the Aerojet driver coming. There you go. So that'll be fun. Wife just got fitted for Cobra Air X. Got them this weekend. Love them already. Good. Happy wife. Happy. Insert word. Ice Tray 24. How does the new King Tour compare to the King Tour MIM? Doesn't seem to have tungsten weighting or other tech that MIM had, but it's slightly stronger lofted. Is the new as forgiving? I was trying to say I go to golf to get away from. We won't carry on that word. We won't say that. Finish that sentence. Wow. When it comes to, I tell you what, we'll just do some bits and bobs and bits as we're doing it. Oh, see if I can multitask. Ooh. You need to change the video resolution. The current resolution is 3840 by 2160. Well. Why is that the case? I see, if I open widget, I may I may mess up things. No, I don't want to mess anything up. Something, yeah, here we go. Something is not quite right when it comes to, it's had a little bit of a wiggle. It's fine. As long as you guys can hear me okay, I will not mess around with it. So what I can do, so reads me out because I just want to, I'm trying to learn at the same time because, so MIM, metal injected molding. Oh, okay. Well, it'd be interesting to see what, like, delve down into the actual differences between them. But MIM, from what I understand here, was fairly, I want to say old. It's not old technology at all, but it was last year's, yeah, the old one. So it's not the same when it comes to the new. We have not, MIM was old, and this one is new. Obviously, so well, the difference is, again, I don't want to ruin this because obviously I've got the review coming when? Tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll have the review coming tomorrow. So there we go. Let's get this back on. There we go. This has got TPU in it. So we've got the normal 1025 steel that we've got in the MB and the CB, but then obviously it's a bit fatter. It's a thicker sole, as you can see, compared to that. That's the blade. CB is a little bit thicker than the blade, obviously, but then the tool's slightly thicker than that, but not much. It's not massive. I'll be honest, when it comes to the looks of the entire range, one thing they've done very, very well, which I personally like, and know is not going to tick everybody's box, but I like the fact that they've actually kept the blade lengths sensible and not just made them massive. They're plenty big enough, and the amount of times I've done this test, and I will as time goes on, continue to do the same test, to see how amateur golfers of all different handicap ranges, how they differ and how they change when it comes to you give them the size of heads. And if you give them massive heads and track their spray consistency, so not on what you can see back here of FSX Play, but on FSX Pro, you can track many more different parameters, and one of it is spray consistency when it comes to strike location. And it is a correlation, and it doesn't matter what kind of handicap, it happens with everybody. When you start giving people golf clubs yay big, yeah, very small, well, not very small, but fairly small, regardless of what handicap they are, their spray consistency, their strike consistency actually improves. So if you map millimeters squared on how much they move, take out any outliers, as long as the outliers aren't every other shot, not they wouldn't be outliers, I guess, yeah, they actually get markedly better when it comes to using a smaller golf club. So I like the fact that they've actually kept blade lengths controlled all the way through to a point where the tour doesn't look that much bigger, if any, than the actual blade, which is great. But yeah, you've got that, it's deeper, it's fatter in its deepness when it comes to the sole. And so they've had a chance to mill down the back and to give the face a little bit more spring capacity, and then also then fill that micro slot, or what they want to call it, to coin a Mizuno phrase. Yeah, they've then added TPU, which is something polymer, something or other. TPU is very, very similar to the silicon cases that you find, the flexible silicon cases that you find with mobile phones and stuff. It basically just calms strike sound down, because as soon as you start making a face springy, you can obviously, it changes the acoustics straight away, which then changes its feel, and to the people that care about feel or sound, does make a difference. So yeah, so effectively that is basically old. MIM is now old. It's still very good. We're going to be talking differences as are going to be like that, but yeah. So if you've got a set of those, would you jump straight into a new? No, I wouldn't worry about it at all. If you've got a 10-year-old set, absolutely. Is the tour similar to the MP223s, the Mizuno Pro 223s, Abstract AVs? Yes, I would say they are along the same lines when it comes to the market of 223s. I will be honest, I don't know if this is true or not. This is my guess before I even do it. And I will do the tour against 223. Before the 223 disappears, it's got another 6 months, possibly. Yeah, 6 months before it is replaced. Hi Ben, just say hello, I'll get you in a sec. I'm playing Bury St Edmunds Golf Club next Monday for the first time. Any tips? What's your favourite hole? All the par fives. I prefer par fives because, or I prefer long par fours because I'm fairly long when it comes to distance, generally speaking. So my advantage is length, and so give me a long par four or give me par fives. That's where I score. But I will do the test between 223 and the tour. My first impressions that the tour won't be able to potentially keep up with the 223 when it comes to distance, like for like. When I say that, I'm going to say that when it comes to, there might be 3 yards in it or 4 yards in it. So yeah, let's calm down. But my feelings is this, from using 223 a lot and then also freshly using Tour, is that I don't think thermoplastic polyurethane, thank you very much. See, where are you guys when I'm filming? I actually have to go on Google and actually insert it afterwards. So, but yeah, my guess would be, actually, I think that the Tour will feel better than 223. That's my feeling, because obviously 223's got forged chromoly, which is going to have a little bit more of a pa-chung effect, and it has got a thinner face, I think, because of that micro slot. So it will acoustics and yeah, it's got copper underlay, yes, but I still, even with the copper underlay, because obviously it's not made of 1025, it's the old grain flow forged chromoly that I think, actually, depending on which side of the boat you want to get off on, one will win and one not. I don't know. We'll do the test and it will be a fun one. I actually might do the filming of that one, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's the wife's birthday. We'll not be doing any filming tomorrow. How about you let us watch a live fitting? Difficult, because where I fit at the Golfers Lounge is difficult anyway, because of the fact that cameras are tricky, space is tricky, lighting is horrific for filming. It's a little bit disjointed when it comes to, when I was at Bury Golf Range, I had my room, and when I had my room, I could shut the door and it would be an absolutely completely private thing where I had all the technology set up exactly how I wanted it. I had all the clubs, all the shafts, everything displayed how I want it. Everything was done exactly how I want it. But obviously at the Golfers Lounge, because primarily it is it's indoor golf venue, so it's not a purpose-built fitting studio like the one at Bury Golf Range was. So when it comes to filming, it becomes difficult, even to a case of where I don't have the lenses that I would need on my camera there to get a large enough field of view to be able to put, you kind of get the idea. It becomes logistically tricky to do a live fitting, and of course when it comes to live anything, it's difficult also because of internet, and over there the internet isn't brilliant. There are multiple reasons where I've got my, so Ashra AV says, where do you film your current videos? I've got my own facility of where I do my YouTube base of operations. It enables me to keep one world separate to another world separate to another world separate, that kind of idea. Good bit of news today. Actually, I'll tell you what, remind me, if I get sidetracked, could happen, if I get sidetracked, or should I do it now? Should I continue what I was talking about, or should I just stop there and go for the news, which I'm quite excited about? You can do it whenever you want to. I don't mind either way. But yeah, so that will be an interesting video anyway, the tour news. Okay. We have one vote for news. So I spoke to, anyone know who HackMotion are? For the nerds out there, for the technically driven nerds, Do you know who HackMotion is? You kind of get the idea. Fitting app, no. Good guess, but no. You film yourself, they give you feedback. Oh, as in, so who are HackMotion? I do, but I feel the kids at front of the class wrist angles. I feel. Yes. Yeah. So basically, HackMotion, you're right, is a device which goes around your wrist like my watch, and then also clips onto the glove, or you can have it so you don't have to have a glove on or something like that. Yep. And they come in 3 different stages, I guess. I think it's core, which is the lowest one, something in between, and then pro, yep, whatever it be. And effectively that's what it does. It measures wrist angles, and I think the pro, which I'm getting, it's also got the capability to do it for the trail wrist as well. So not just lead wrist, because obviously everyone talks about lead wrist, but it also has the capacity to do it on the trail wrist as well. And so when it comes to measuring wrist angles, the wrist angles nowadays have been, it's now the new sexy term. When everyone talks and everyone does coaching, everyone talks about wrist angles. Now, it's become much more, say, sexy to talk about. As time goes on, it's become more understood by coaches, not necessarily the clients, it's the coaches themselves, because as time goes on, we're starting to become a bit more biomechanical, and rather than years ago, we had the coach just kind of stand there, look at your swing and trying to give his opinion or her opinion on what you're doing. Obviously nowadays you've got things like quad that measures directly what you're doing at the point of contact, obviously with the ball as well. But when it comes to wrist angles are one of, if not the largest problem for face angles we have when it comes to understanding what you need to do and what you don't need to do. And I always find the most difficult thing for golfers or clients or students, what you want to call them, to learn is wrist angles, the proper application of wrist angles. And we are not just talking about, we are talking about which angle to move, yeah? We're not talking about the finite tiny amounts, we're talking about physically which muscle to use. And so I've been looking to reach out to HackMotion to see if I can have one for review. And so from coaching perspective, I am excited, because if this is as good as it says it is, I do not know, apart from one thing, cost, yeah, why every single coach hasn't got a HackMotion. I can understand that. 20 odd grand is a lot of money. 20-something thousand pounds is a lot of money for a fully functioning quad. Absolutely, yeah, it's a lot. So I can kind of understand why they haven't got that. But I think HackMotion is, even the top tier, the pro version is about £1,000. So it's still not cheap. But then if you look at Capto, Capto in itself is, well, over £1,000, and that's putting, and it's over £1,000, so you don't get a Capto for £1,000, you have to put more into it to get it. And then you've got updates and all this lot, so yeah. Cody says, posted this on your last video, but do you believe there is actually a discernible forgiveness difference in older model players' cavity like Ping i210 versus new like Cobra CB? No. As in, when I say no, marginal. As in marginal. When we're talking older players' cavity like Ping i210 is not that old, let's be honest. If we are talking about irons of 20 years ago, yes, there will be a marked discernible forgiveness difference between them, yes. i210, I mean i210 and i230, let's be honest, I love i230, and I'll be honest, I love i210 as well. The i230 is a small, it is a very small overall increment adjustment to i210, but it's small. it is small. Are higher spinning drivers really more forgiving, i.e. go straighter? Yes. Okay. Shall I elaborate? I don't know if you wanted a yes/no answer or you wanted me to explain why. I'm quite happy to explain why. It does get a little bit boring, but again, I'm happy to explain why. They will go straight. So the more backspin you get, the straighter it will become. It's not like what people perceive as if I'm going to spin a golf ball offline, then the more backspin I have, the more it'll go or no, it doesn't work that way. Actually, through the way aerodynamics works, the more backspin you have, or the more application of backspin, the less tilt axis you will generally apply. And then also, because of how the aerodynamics works, if you hit a golf ball with a higher spin rate, face to path defense exactly the same, and a ball with a face to path defense exactly the same, and a lower spin rate, the tilt axis that applied to the lower spin rate ball, as in a low spin and driver, will have the propensity to actually curve more. So when it comes to, and you've got to be very, very careful when it comes to low spin drivers, if you are someone who curves it, because you can actually make it worse. To actually do a power fade with a low spin driver, there has to be not a lot of deviation whatsoever. You can get away with a higher spin, same curvature, worse delivery. We're not talking huge, guys. We're not talking the difference between a 1 degree open face and a 10. We are talking marginal, but it is still in a game of margins. Yes, higher spin drivers. It's a catch, not say catch-22. It is a byproduct of the exact same thing. If you whack the weight that far back to increase MOI, then you will effectively get a higher spinning driver anyway, and it will be more stable and less resistant, or sorry, more resistant to twists, less likely to zip offline. As soon as you start then putting that CG close to the face, if you get through missed strikes, then you're going to start thinking about tilt axis through strike even more. Thanks, I need a high spin driver then. No, what you need is a lesson or two to understand why you're curving it, work on the curvature itself, and then you can then make a decision afterwards. I would always say for the vast majority of golfers, the higher spin driver is the better option. Length is brilliant, off the tee, brilliant. However, you've got to have some form of control, because lost shots through ball going in trees, didn't find it. That's cost you far more than hitting a driver 50 yards shorter. That's a lot. 50 yards short is a lot, but yeah, you kind of get my point. Cody says, follow up on 511. Can you get a very good deal on a used set of i210s, but they are ½ inch longer than standard? Do you think that would even be noticeable? Why do you need, do you absolutely know 100% that you do need 1/2 inch longer? Or are you assuming because you're 5'11"? I'll let Cody. Once the delay of YouTube Live has done its thing, I'll let Cody rapidly type out. This is the problem, obviously, when it comes to custom fitting. Perry, evening. I'll get to your question in a second while I've got my train of thought. The biggest issue at the moment with golfers and custom fitting, it's the fact that there is so many bad fits out there. It is bordering on the lines of criminal. Now, okay, let's just very, very quickly get into this, and I will get off my soapbox. When it comes to coaching, right? Wherever you are in the world, doesn't matter where you are listening, right? Think about where you live now, and think you've got to go to the nearest town, nearest city. If it's 10 miles away, it's 50 miles, 100 miles away, doesn't matter. You've got roads to get there, and it doesn't matter. You go see Google Maps, you go see Garmin, you go see TomTom, you go see as many satellite versions of direction apps as possible, and you set them up in different ways, give them different personalities or whatever it is. They'll all have different ways of getting you to that same city, yeah? different directions. Some will be highway or motorway, some will only be A roads, some will be through the B roads, and some will be literally as you walk over fields and stuff like that. Doesn't mean it's wrong, it just means it's opinion based. Every coach will want to get you to the city. They just have different ways of getting you there. And depending on how good the coach isn't just down one route. The coach has got multifaceted ways to get you to the same place. Like if you get down there and the motorway or the highway or freeway or wherever you are in the world has got a traffic jam coming up, it'll come off the slip road and then go onto a different road and get you there. We're talking about coaches very much so like we talk about roads, but you kind of get the point. When it comes to fitting, true, proper fitting is not opinion. Fitting is science. Fitting is maths, effectively. So there is no opinion yet, right or wrong, as in no one's right or wrong, it's opinion based. We are talking very much so that if fitters do their job properly, you should have 10 different people come in for 10 different fits with 10 different fitters. Yeah, I know, yeah, 100 different, within a very, very small margin. Every single one of them done properly, correctly, asking all the right questions, having the right conversations with the golfers, and as long as the golfer has given honest information to the fitter, or all of those fitters, all of the time, the results should be eerie close. However, they're not. And why? Because it's still a selling tool. I am still aware of places currently fitting for multiple manufacturers with a handful of bits of equipment, not using any technology whatsoever, having no real clue what they're doing because they can't measure anything, and being responsible for people who are dumping a large sum of money. And they wonder why sometimes when people don't get on with their golf clubs, they don't play with them very well, they never have, you hear it constantly, and it is just, that's the biggest problem at the moment with custom fitting. And I just see it, and yep. Right, let's go to Perry's question. Sorry, people, it's got my little soapbox there, but it's true. It just drives me insane because all it does is just service you, the golfer. You're trying to get better. You're trying to invest in your own game to try and get better and enjoy it with your own custom fit stuff. And there is just so many bad ones out there. So many bad ones. Perry says, "Evening, Jay. I suffer with occasional heel strikes with driver. I can shallow the club and have an in to out swing path with positive angle of attack. Is this simply a case of stand further away from the ball?" No. Because, well, yes and no. Because yes, try it. Obviously measure your strikes as an average. If it works, brilliant. However, generally speaking, there's a reason why people do what they do. Itchy snozzer. There we go, a bit better now. There's a reason why people do what they do, and if you move them further away, they just compensate for that and push it more and more and more. So I would need to see your swing, Perry. If you're a hip thruster, if you are someone who pushes your arms out, if you literally just do it centrifugally. I mean, again, when it comes to it, if you're moving a mass or any kind of mass at any kind of length, at any kind of speed, there's going to be forces at play that are going to push or pull on your body in certain ways. And you either have to counter that or let it happen. And there's always going to be consequences for forces at play. So I'd need to see it, definitely. But test it first, see if you, and do it not just 1 or 2 or 3 times, test it over 20 shots, 25 shots, get a decent data set with your current setup, get a mapping. If you can do it on quad, that's brilliant, because if you do it on quad with not this one FSX Play, but you can do it on FSX Pro, you can do two different data sets, and you can actually map your strike spray and tendency throughout the whole thing. So worthwhile doing. If it doesn't work, then lessons. Because there is a reason why you're doing it, and you need to tackle the reason why you're doing it rather than just keep standing further and further and further away. But yeah. If your distances are good, is there a harm in playing irons ball with a land angle 47, 49 degrees for added stopping power? I stopped by a retailer a few weeks ago who made it sound like this was crazy. Why? That's not crazy at all. I stopped by a retailer a few weeks ago who made it sound like this was crazy. It's not crazy at all. They're saying, stepping into work meeting, look forward to checking back later, thanks, no problem. That's another example. So, okay, it depends. If you've got good speed, good distance, so all the things that people want when it comes to hitting their iron shots, good speed, good distance, good height, good stopping power, good spin rates, I'm assuming, I'm adding that in there, but yeah, then what's wrong with that? Unless the retailer is trying to basically then change things to maximize distance. Yes, if you want to maximize distance, then having a land angle of nearly 50 degrees isn't functional for a long distance shot. No. From that point of view, I would look at it, and if you've got a 47, 49 degree descent angle 7-iron, I'm thinking, what's your 5-iron like? Test your 5-iron out, and instantly we can see where you start to suffer. Now we get a picture of what your longest iron should be. If you can push it to a 4-iron, if you've still got your 3-dimensional functionality with a 4-iron, rather than basically like I would have to, I'd have to hit everything as high as I possibly could do with a 4-iron just to get my normal 45 degrees that I like to hit something. If I'm hitting something 49 degrees descent angle, I'm loving it. I don't understand why. I understand that there's a sale attached to this when it comes to that it was crazy. Why? Because you're losing so much distance. Here you go, try this. This will get you. Look at, you're still going to be able to stop a green at this, definitely. But look at the difference between this 7-iron, that 7-iron. Your 7-iron's going at 49 degrees descent angle, and it's going X distance. Look at this iron that I've just given you, and we can even make this better with a proper custom fit. But yeah, look at the gains we've had already. It's going 45 degrees, which will stop on any green. You haven't got to worry about that. But look, it's going 18 yards longer. Well, that's a club and a bit, club and a half. You've now got better just from trying this golf club, and it's not even properly custom fit yet. Should we go in there for a proper custom fit and see how much we can get? There's a sale attached to this. That's great. Get your 7-iron going at 45 degrees, and you've gained 18 yards. Okay. What happens when you get your 5-iron? Yep, and you're not stopping that. And if your 7-iron or your old 7-iron was going 170, and your new one's going near on 190, what's your loft gaps going to be when it comes to your distance gaps between them? So what's your gapping going to be between each iron? That's going to be mental. And if so, if it's not mental, how many wedges are you going to need? I've got a 7 wedge setup, please, sir. Yep. Right. What's the time? Got to keep an eye on the time, because I don't want to be on forever. I will continue to be on as long as where people want to continue to ask questions. I'm absolutely happy to stay on until that point. But yeah, I find that mental. Oh dear me. This is the thing when it comes to coaching, is an opinion. An educated opinion, and some, going back to the Google Maps, Garmin, TomTom, whatever your choice of GPS navigation is, there's plenty more. Waze, or something or other, doesn't matter. There is so many different ways to get to a destination, and the important thing is you get to that destination. The better the coach will have a more reactive way of getting you there, where the the poorer coach will be banging down that same road, regardless if it is slightly too small to get your car down. You might get there battered and bruised a bit, and you'll take longer to get there, but you'd get there. Okay, the problem comes when you have the Pro which reads like there's a cul-de-sac or the road's closed, and they're very one-dimensional in how they teach. So yes, so a good coach will be able to have multiple different ways of being able to get you in different, okay, you're not responding to that, there's no point me continuing going down that route, because all I'm going to be doing, who is it? Is Einstein? Someone said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. So yeah, don't be afraid, come out, go down a different road, boom, down that one. Yeah, if not, you're just wasting your own time, and more importantly, the client's time, because they're paying for your time. So yeah, Cody says, going back to the 1/2 inch shaft, okay, I've never played anything but standard, but wondered if being longer would cause problems, or if I can just grip down if needed. Sorry, Cody above said, I do not need 1/2 inch longer, but wondered if that would be a problem at my height. No, so to go back a little bit to what you were doing beforehand, Cody, which I unfortunately missed, so I went back and saw it. The fact that you are 5'11" or anything like that is no marker whatsoever of how long clubs you need, if they're standard 1/2 inch, extra 1/2 inch less, or anything. It's based on not just your height, but one thing other. I can't do it because my span will not fit. You kind of get the idea. How long are your arms? And then what is your posture? So when it comes to, I'll tell you what, can I do, there you go. Oh my word. If I spin this around a little bit, which way? That way, that's close enough. I want to make sure that I get, I'm on the other cameras anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm not going to hit anything. Oh, I'm getting old. But I am 5'10", so I am relatively boring when it comes to fitting as such, although there's a different thing when it comes to these. I'll get to that in a second. I am normally standard length, and I'm normally 2 degrees upright on a Mizuno, but bearing in mind, obviously, when it comes to different manufacturers, there's no such thing as standard. So when it comes to these things, I've got the Tor in my hand. Really should have picked up the blade, but it doesn't matter, I've got the Tor in my hand. These are 37.25 against Mizuno's 37, although that is measured from a different point. That's a different subject, we won't get to that point. But then the lie angles on these are slightly more upright than they are Mizuno. So effectively, I am within a degree or so, or half a degree of lie angle when it comes to these over a standard set, say, of Mizuno. So yeah, no manufacturers are exactly the same. Generally speaking, they always move around a little bit. But so I'm Mr. Boring, I'm Mr. Normal, yeah, when it comes to everything. But I have a different posture to most. You've noticed when it comes to videos, if anything, I stand a little bit more, I'll exaggerate, I don't, that's Keegan Bradley. But I am a bit more this way, where other people are more like that, as in more upright. Yeah. All would potentially need different lengths of golf club, different lie angles, depending on how long your arms are. I mean, I have custom fit people, which are 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", whatever it be, but I've got arms like a gorilla, you know, classic knuckles dragging across the ground kind of idea, and need standard length clubs because their arms are so long. Yeah, so I'm no different. I have custom fit 5'6" guys, 5'5" guys who are like really kind of like not, yes, small guys, but they got arms like a T-Rex. So effectively, they actually need 1/2 inch long. Well, you would never say that, but you have to fit the individual. And because we all, as human beings, come in different shapes and lengths of everything, just saying one thing is, and that's why I love ping for many different reasons. What I don't agree with is their static fit. Okay, it's an idea, it's a starting point. But to give certain things like you need this shaft length and this lie angle, well, the problem is we have just talked about when it comes to what you do here. I still, even if you were 5'10", like me, and all proper length arms, you know, average length arms and everything else like that, and average posture, average everything else, I am still not making determination of shaft length until I see a bunch of your strikes with whatever head you're going to be choosing, because you can use shaft length, not always, but you can use shaft length to change strike location. But again, that is always, you have to then put it to the golfer. It's an individual based thing constantly. And so therefore, effectively, there is no right or wrong when it comes to that side of things. You have to test it. You have to do everything by the book, and you have to test every single person. But to do that, you need one of them things. Quad. Because it doesn't happen, you can't test all those things if you're doing a fit with literally no tech at all. Right, let's get on the old questions. Fancy graphic, I know. I've upgraded to the kaleidoscope. You need to get up really early and bake birthday buns for the missus. Actually, what I need to do is I need to go out and find her a cake, possibly. Although we're going to go out for going out for breakfast tomorrow with Litland, with the little 3-year-old, with Gracie girl, and then the mother and father-in-law are coming over in the afternoon of tomorrow, and so that I can take the wife out for dinner. But there you go. So that's my plans, and I'm no YouTubing at all tomorrow. I've been banned. So I banned myself from work. But I've got everything ready for the tour video. Very, very, very good iron. That's all ready to go for tomorrow. So yeah. Cody says, thank you, you're the man. Best resource on the tube by far. You just need to be telling that to as many as your golfing buddies as you possibly can do, so I can get my subscribers up as fast as I possibly can do. It's not a race, but I like to try and get there as quick as I can do. My little boy, who's now 11, said to me, Dad, have you got a play button? Not yet, Cam, no. It's going to be a while before I get there. I reckon, no, I'll get there, definitely. Just going to take a while. And the way I do things, because of the way I do things, it's going to mean that I take longer than most, because I believe in the ways of how I do things. So, Goldfish says, hello, Goldfish, hope you're well. Thank you, you're the man, best resource on your... Oh, no, that's Cody. I agreed with him so much, I had to say it again. So, have you gone back and hit the 11 clubs since your review? No. I've been busy, I'll be honest. So I haven't gone back. They are still over there. So yeah, I haven't done that one yet. Abstract OV, oh no, that means I've got T-Rex arms. There are so many. Everyone comes in different shapes and sizes. So the fact that you do wrist to floor, that's great. But then depending on how you stand, your posture, that throws that one out the window straight away. So it's, yeah, then lying all changes depending on your dynamic swing. So again, there's no such thing as static fit. Static fits are the worst thing ever. Well, no, okay. I've seen some static fits where the person has just gone on, say, Ping's website and said that's what I should be, and bought on the basis of then found a head which they like, and that's still been a better fit than what some fitters have fit someone for. So yeah. Unfortunately, the fitting industry, we'll call it, it needs, I don't think it needs better regulation. I don't think it's that at all, because a lot of the badness that I see and have witnessed isn't from a guy that's just come off the street and said, oh, I can fit, it's my job. These are proper, yeah, so. Unfortunately, because there is a sale attached to the end of it, you are now talking about individuals, the fitters are now chasing the money rather than they are chasing what's best for the client. The amount of fits I have turned around and said, look, it's not responsible for me to fit you. Your swing is this, your swing is that. You have got huge improvements to be had. I mean, just the guy that I had done a video on effectively about a week or so ago, coming in at 58 miles an hour with a 7-iron, lovely guy, as in like, really, really nice guy. Physically fit, physically able, but just never been told properly of how to do things, because where he's had lessons before, the pro has not had any form of technology. So he's been going on the basis of what he's seen. And unfortunately, because he hasn't got one of those, and that's modern day cheating for coaching, the application of the fix that he was trying to put in place was actually making things worse. As soon as you know what number you're dealing with, as soon as you know what wrist angle you're dealing with, when it comes to also HackMotion, that's why I'm excited to get HackMotion in, that it just transformed the individual within click, done, and it's unlocked 30% more speed. Is just mental. But yeah, right, where was I? Ben says, I'm 5'6" and my 9.234 is a ½ inch short and 1 degree upright. Yep, nothing wrong with that, depending on how you swing, how you're, I see biomechanically how you're made. Again, I don't know, Ben. I can see in your little tiny avatar picture that I'm guessing that will be you, but it's tiny, so and I can't really gain much from that. Neil says, Cody, I guess he's saying you need to check them out and see if they fit you to decide if they are for you. Ogdet fur. Okay. Or get fit. I'm guessing. But yeah, you're right. Getting fit is the right thing. Getting fit somewhere properly, that's trickier, absolutely trickier. It is imperative that people get fit, properly custom fit. You can really gain a lot from a good custom fitting, not just obviously making sure that your equipment is good, but also a fitter which coaches as well and is a decent coach as well and understands how to change people's swings and the benefit of doing certain things, and you can then mold those two together for a all-round proper job. Golfy says, I currently switched to hybrids after 5-iron with the 11 clubs. Do you see any issues in getting a complete set wedge through to 3? What, in the 11s? No. I mean, I've always been worried about when you go in hybrid and stuff like that, because I like to hit down quite a bit and all that ground interaction malarkey that people love talking about. But no. They are brilliant. Those 11 hybrids, for the enjoyment factor, just for people to actually go out there and have fun with, they should be, those things down there, I've got them down the bottom there, I need to put them in the bag rather than just laying on the floor a little bit, because I'm just, yeah, but they should be used by every single starter golfer. Every time someone, it just makes the game so much more fun. It would hook people quicker, and it would mean they would continue playing golf. And if they want to upgrade, we'll call it upgrade, to a full-on custom fit premium manufacturer in the future, then by all means do so. But they offer such a fun factor of being able to, no golfer's got the best swing in the world, no one has. But it just makes golf so much more fun. It does. So, what we got? Dave says, hello David, hope you are well. I used to play Mizuno Tezoid Comp EZs. Irons with dynamic gold with sensor core shafts. What is comparable shaft now? Love the feel along with the forged iron. That's going to be an interesting one, because off the top of my head, I cannot exactly remember the bend profile of that, so I would have to then try and look at the EI curve, see if I can find some old information of the EI curves, some old shafts and stuff. Bearing in mind, obviously years ago they didn't measure EI curves in the way they do now, and so as time's gone on and like measuring devices have changed, they've been able to measure how shafts react and bend and the frequency changes throughout the entire length of the shaft. So they didn't do that years ago. So that's a really good, I'd have to spend time on the internet trying to find an EI curve. Or David, if you want, I'm quite happy if you can find a representation of the EI curve of that shaft, send it through to AskGolfNut@gmail.com or Instagram. Go on Instagram, find me on there and put it through there. I will happily go through all the EI curves to match one as close as I can for you. How about that? There you go. So, any other questions? I'm going to have a quick YTD. It's not the normal YTD, it's just Coke, or well, we can call it Coke. Yeah, I can call it Coke because I can't call it something Ola, because obviously that's a registered trademark. But this is a black version. You can see it's just Coke, we'll call it. So I can just drink it normally. There's so many different versions of Coke. Tesco's do one, Sainsbury's do one. Every any supermarket does one. Right, so any more questiones before, what's time? So it's coming up to an hour. Okay, that's good. So I've got the other 3 Cobra irons coming. I've got the Aerojet iron, I've got the Forged Tech and the Forged X coming. I've got the Aerojet driver coming. I've got the Strixon ZX 4, 5 and 7, and I've also asked for the Forged as well. So I've got them coming. Kieran, hope you're well, mate. No, nice to have you on. Just about to go, I think, possibly, you never know. Not unless you're going to bombard me with questions. More than happy for you to bombard me with questions. I like questions where I struggle to answer. I like a challenge. So, but yeah, so I've got many different things. I mean, even when it comes to all these different irons, a bit different for the players, because obviously less people are going to be involved with caring about these things than they are when it comes to aero jet and stuff like that, so aerotech. But no different also when it comes to the Strixon, because the Strixon, they've got the ZX4, 5 and 7 coming. There's not just going to be reviews on them, it's going to be the normal classic compares between how a ZX7 goes up against something like the Cobra Tour, or ZX7 up against anything when it comes to Mizunos, pings. Doesn't matter, although pings are a little bit awkward, I must admit, because with ping you've only really got G430 full game improvement iron. You've now got no G7 series anymore, because you haven't got super game improvement iron. You've just got G430, which is good because it does every single thing that really the G should do. You've got I525, which is the like the tungsten filled players distance category iron. Then you've got I210, which is I230, which is kind of effectively that. It's a mixture between that one and then also the CB, so it will be interesting to put these. I'm not quite sure which one I would put them up against as yet, but yeah, probably the Tour. For feel wise, I reckon it'll be the Tour. The CB there is just basically it's a slightly more happy blade, we'll call it. Where's my phone? Phone's down there. Keep an eye on stuff. Got some other ones. Well, Astra AV, so my daughter is 5. She likes playing on my putting mats. Any tips on how to help her get into swinging a kids club and making it fun? So plastic sets when you're really tiny, because that's a really good idea. But when you're 5, you're still very small, generally speaking. Obviously, all kids come in different shapes and sizes. So your 5-year-old might be a massive 5-year-old or a small 5-year-old, and keep it in plastic stuff as best you can do, as in stuff that's not going to break anything, and you can do it in the garden, make it as easy as you can do. Go get those little plastic cones that sometimes you get in football grounds, where they're just like little kind of dome, and the ball sits on top, where you can just go get, and just hit those things and stuff like that. Because the whole idea is to hit it around the garden, do daft things, make it like a big massive goal rather than a small hole. And the whole idea is you're supposed to get it into a massive hole. Because at 5, you can be very quickly turned off as you can turned on. So making it fun, making it daft, making it ridiculously easy before you start introducing smaller and smaller targets is the best way to go. Do it in a group session, especially if you've got like-minded kids that want to do a very similar thing. Can be also sometimes a bit difficult, because then you're having to get the attention span of multiple children at multiple times, and it is difficult. So, but you've got capacity to do that, which is good. Yeah, there you go, just having a look. So yeah, what we go. Ben says, last question for me. It's fine. You can have as many as you want. What's a good gap between golf clubs? Ben, how fast do you swing with your 7-iron, for example? While I'm waiting for Ben to get back me with a miles per hour, I will miles per hour and how far you normally hit your 7-iron. And what lofted your 7-iron is. So what loft is your 7-iron, static loft your 7-iron, how far do you hit it, and how fast do you swing? So we got this how fast the swing, 77 miles an hour. What loft is your 7-iron and how far do you hit it? Jerry says, I'm a senior golfer with slow swing speed but pretty consistent hitter. I am hitting game improvement irons but now wondering if I might be better off with something less jacked. 7-iron is 27 degrees. Yes. So I'm guessing, Jerry, that your ball's coming to the green like Exocet missiles. Very little chance of stopping. So yes, I just picked up Perry's. 30 degrees, 150 yards. Cool. Okay, I'll get on to that one in a sec. So I would definitely suggest something in the high launch category. It will be different straight away. So usually go for a 27 degree to a 31 degree head. You are going to notice differences in height. Yes, you might find there'll be a slight differences in distance, but marginal. It won't be that much depending on how you deliver a golf club. And again, what I'm saying is generalized because obviously everyone delivers in a completely different way. So this is not saying it's going to be right for everybody. This is just general. But if you have someone which is very, very slow swinging, they've got a very, very jacked 7-iron because they've been either sold or they've been advised to get something which is going to be a little bit more raw in the lofts to get it going longer. Well, the problem is with that, it then suffers through peak height into center angle, and it does go longer, possibly, but it goes longer very much so in total distance because it goes into a green and then disappears out the back. Or you then get very accustomed to do that when it comes to a handicapped golfer. You land it short, and because you can't control what happens to the ball when you land it short, you get a myriad of different results. One of them is actually makes the green, not a lot of the time. Other times it bounces around, hits something, hits a little bit of sandy bits and doesn't actually get there, and all these different problems. When you go to something like a 31 degree high launch head, you do then find that instantly you get a bit more vertical launch angle. You do get all the same help that you get from a full game improvement iron through strike and stuff like that. But again, you're saying that you don't necessarily need that because you're fairly consistent at hitting it. I would be looking at definitely trying some different setups with loft on them and seeing how your functionality improves. You may find a marginal deficit in distance, marginal, but I want to see what the differences in your functional results will be rather than the distance results. But yeah, so let's go to Ben. 30 degrees, 150 yards, 77 miles an hour. What would be decent gaps? So you are more, 30 degrees is a more modern lofted standard. Yeah, times have changed. So I would say 10 yards, nine yards, about 9. I would say 9 yards in between each iron at your speed, give or take. There's, oh yeah, I could do a video on it, but it'd bore the pants off people. Perry says, thanks for the DVR tip. We'll set the launch monitoring camera up to record swing and see if the hands are moving away or hip tilt. Yeah, so basically you can have early extension. Early extension is not a fault, guys. Before anyone goes off on, early extension in itself is not a fault. Early extension is a fault if you are having to compensate for it. Any movement within the golf swing which you do not have to compensate for in a inconsistent way is not a fault. If you, as soon as you have to compensate for it by moving this, by moving that, or doing this and doing that, and obviously certain thing then suffers because of it, like consistency is one of them, then of course that starts becoming a fault. But again, you can have multiple different things which are known as being half decent. However, you do this and you do this, which then causes that not to be. It's, yeah. I early extend. There's many PGA Tour guys which early extend. Yeah. I do get a little bit kind of, oh my word, when it comes to early extension. Jerry says, thanks, stopping on the green is exactly my problem. Yeah, I've seen it when it comes to many different things. Ben says you're pretty much spot on. There's between 9 and 13 yards in my gap in. Yeah, depending on what the actual specific lofts are, depending on how old they are and how they're bent around, as obviously irons move over time. And then obviously what the composition of the head is. Is it like a technology inspired head? Is it a head which has got tech in, say, the longer irons, but then starts to bleed out into the shorter irons? There's so many different variances as to why that 13 yards is there. I would like at your speed to be 9 to 10. 13's getting a bit big, because then it would then cause at your speed then to another one to be a bit small. Unless you're talking about right at the very top end of the bag, like your 5 iron to 4 hybrid, or 5 wood, 7 wood, that kind of idea, because gap pins get bigger up there anyway. Kieran says, I know you have probably done it before, but does your strike go out the window if you hit left-handed? Yes. So, game before yesterday, I went over to the Golfers Lounge because Bay 2, the Hawk we have in the Golfers Lounge in Bury St Edmunds indoor golf facility, there are 3 GC Hawks, and they are all club data enabled, so they are the full 20-something odd £1,000 a piece jobs. And Bay 2 had its head data not working, they're only given 1 dot data even with 4 dots on the club, and so it just needed recalibrating. I recalibrated it and spent the time recalibrating the blooming things, which is fine, but then because of certain reasons and certain things happening, there wasn't a golf club there, a right-handed golf club there, which had dots on it, so I could actually test to see if my recalibration has actually done the job. But there was a left-handed one, and I'm left-handed, even though I play right-handed. Can I swing left-handed? Yes, I can. Can I make decent contact if I swing a few times and get used to it? Yes, I can. Is my strike anything like right-handed? Absolutely not. And it used to be an old thing when it says to coaches, and I'll be honest, and I understand, because sometimes you get to a point when you've been coaching for a while, or you get to a certain ability level and stuff like that, sometimes you lose the capacity to appreciate how hard golf is, and you forget all the troubles that went through younger years. Sometimes I forget and have to remind myself sometimes that when I very first started, I had a horrific slice, as in like 3 goes at the same kind of slice, and I'm back to where I've started. That bad. So the old thing when it comes to all pros would be, look, if you want to know how difficult it is for someone, start swinging your opposite way round, left-handed for a right-hander, right-handed for a left-hander, and then get the person, or ask yourself, to do different things and see how hard it is. And that gives the individual the appreciation of, you know, just how hard it is for students sometimes to not understand or appreciate or even be able to comprehend the movements of which sometimes coaches ask them to do, which are simple moves to the coach and simple moves biomechanically, but obviously it's a bit different when a lot of your brain power is being used up just to try and make contact with a golf ball, rather than thinking about moving wrist angles. But yeah. So, Dave says, I guess my question was more with the vibration dampening of the sensor core. I gave the shaft a soft feel. Does any shaft have built-in shaft? Not really. Not that I know of, I'll be honest. Anyone who wants to pop on there and let me know that there is some form, yeah, to be fair now, I don't know of anything. Mizuno definitely doesn't offer anything when their Swing DNA lineup, and let's face it, they're one of, if not the biggest shaft choice options that you have of all manufacturers fitting. Mental. So especially, it's definitely the biggest one that a company give out to account holders for normal fitting. Most manufacturers will give you a selection, but nothing compared to Mizuno. Mizuno just give out so many shafts when it comes to new accounts for their Swing DNA. And to right, obviously, if you've got a fitting system which is centered around the Swing DNA tool, which is an amazing thing, and I think if all custom fitting places who have a Mizuno account were to do every single one of their fittings, regardless if it's from Mizuno or not, using that Swing DNA tool as a guide, the fitting quality would go through the roof across, well, whoever, where I wouldn't say the world, but I mean, I don't know if the Swing DNA is worldwide necessarily, but I definitely know when it comes to America and the UK, the quality of fitting would go up, definitely. But no, from answer to the question, I don't necessarily know of anything which will have the same effect. Only thing you're looking at graphite and stuff like that, but then again, that's through the actual construction of their physical shaft. Although they do make stiff graphites, which still will have more dampening properties than steel. And obviously graphite nowadays, or carbon fiber, because it's not graphite at all. They've got nano tubes and everything, so yeah, they can make graphite carbon fiber shafts as stiff as steel, and obviously lighter, and therefore and the construction is more vibration dampened anyway. And also don't forget the fact that you can choose a grip like a CP2, Golf Pride CP2 or something of that nature, which will have a bit more padding and that feeling. My TTV SS shafts have foam in them. There you go. It'd be interesting to see what it does. I mean, again, that's be an interesting test, but I mean, that's difficult, I suppose, to get easy to get a subjective result, difficult to get an objective result. And again, when it comes to doing what I do, I prefer objectivity and measured rather than subjectivity. I mean, again, when we're talking about feel and sound and all things like that, which golfers like talking about, that very much so is down to the vibration suppression system. Apparently, I can't tell. I saw something called Sting Stopper, which is a butt end insert. Don't know anything about it if it helps. I mean, that's an option, Niels. That's a very good idea. So Dave, yeah, I mean, by all means, Google the living daylights out of it. I don't necessarily know anything that that manufacturers do. I may be wrong. I don't know everything in the world, I'll be honest. So when it comes to anyone else got any other specific knowledge on such, then by all means, pop it down there for Mr. Largan to absorb. But yeah, right, has anyone else, oh, we got Ben, I've got to go. Thanks for the information, even every day is a school day. And that, Ben, is my pleasure. And talk about you've got to go. Unless everyone else has got any kind of requirements, either or, I will make my own way. Skedaddle. So, but by all means, whack get the comments on there very, very quickly, and then we will, yeah, we'll call it a day. If not, I'll give it a 30-second warning. 30 seconds. We need a happy birthday for the missus. Yes, give her a great day tomorrow. I will try. Happy wife, happy life. Abstract AV says, I did ram corks down an old set, which did help with that. Cheers, buddy, as always. That's an interesting concept. Putting cork down the shaft. Obviously, a shaft is tapered, so it won't fall down any further. So yeah, I mean, that is an option. Cork is fairly light, so it's not something that's going to dramatically affect what's it called, swing weight. You could possibly, I don't know if this will work, put expanding foam down there. So if you can get a long enough, like that, you can get it down there and then gun it. That will do the job. And it's very, 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 very light. It should stay together and it shouldn't break because it's still got a little bit of pliability with the shaft moving. It will stiffen the shaft up, I would have thought. I'm gonna guess, I don't know 100%, but I'm assuming, but that has implications for such. Right, so thank you very much for everybody. It's been a pleasure as always. Keep an eye out for the tour video tomorrow. Share to all your golfing friends, subscribe and all that lot. We all like that. And then obviously got the aero stuff coming, be it the iron, be it the driver. I've also got the Forged and Forged Tech, oh sorry, the Forged Tech and the Forged Tech X for Cobra. Then I've got the Shrixon Cleveland stuff coming as well, which will be fun. Then I've got my Tacoma 101Ts hopefully on their way. More sub 70 brands also the range coming, which they've got so many irons, which a lot of people really need to look at, because they are, well, they seem to be at the moment, from very good quality irons. Obviously not the full-on price that you get from premium manufacturers, but again, that's the whole idea of DTC, direct to consumer. But so there's lots and lots of things that are coming up at the moment. I've got the HackMotion sensor, which is hopefully on its way very soon, and I've got a bunch of, well, when it comes, I could do the normal review of that will be, but then any such things, I mean, I was thinking about doing a review of on Thursday, just a simple thing of how to hit a punch shot, how to hit a shot nice and low. Well, doing that kind of thing with a HackMotion sensor makes it so much easier. And I did hear on the HackMotion sensor as well, it's actually got like an audible noise that if you're working with your pro to try and get a certain motion in whatever it would be, yeah, in your swing, depending on what you are, weird and wonderful wrist angles you're doing, it will actually play you an audible noise to say, yeah, you've got it. So you're moving your wrist around and it'll make a certain noise without, whatever it is. And yeah, that's the, I mean, oh, something has just gone and blink, blink, blink. I don't know what the blink, blink, blink is. I'll find out what blink, blink, blink is yet. I like it when my thing just goes off and I don't know as yet what's been going on. My PC just makes a noise. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's great, thanks for that. Oh, I think it was it. Oh, it's just because I've got the Stream Elements bot running. It's a new subscriber. Dear me. Okay, cool, thanks very much. just subscribed, that's very kind of you. But right, so, thank you very much for everybody's attention and joining in. Thank you for all of the questions. It's always nice to be challenged by a few. Got some good information there for David to have a go at trying to find a little bit of vibration suppression ideas for his irons. And then obviously when it comes to answering your questions, just random ones, which is always fun. So, right guys, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it as always, it's been enjoyable. All being equal, we will be going again next Monday. All being equal. And then, yeah, we've got loads more stuff to do. I'm going to be a busy day Thursday. I may not actually have a video for Thursday because obviously I'm a day out of sync with the wife having the birthday tomorrow. So we'll see. I have to get up early on Thursday and see if I can get one out. Probably not, we'll see. But right guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining in. It's been a pleasure and we'll see each other next week.